Hello, class. My name is Scott Johnson, and historians must be objective and honest in their investigations. And this is just a brief summary of my worldview statement as it pertains to the one issue from the history department at Liberty University. The woman I have chose to give my presentation on today is Mercy Otis Warren. Mercy Otis Warren is a woman in American history in which I have particular interest in because last fall I completed a project about her brother, James Otis Jr., and took a look at his involvement with the risk of assistance. Mercy Otis Warren was the daughter of James Otis Jr. and Mary Elaine Otis. Her father and brother, James Otis Jr. and James Otis Sr., being the father, James Otis Sr., were both lawyers. For a time, each was involved in the politics of colonial America. Both were known for their support of legislation that opposed the British writs of assistance. Mercy Otis Warren was born on September 14, 1727, and died on October 19, 1814. On November 14, 1754, she married James Warren, and the two, after their marriage, settled in Massachusetts. Now, her husband encouraged her to write, which was something that was generally unusual for the time period. And as she began to write, she began to keep correspondence with different people that were involved in the Revolutionary War movement during that time. Some of the people that she had correspondences with were Abigail Adams, John Adams, Martha Washington, and Hannah Winthrop. The Reverend John Russell tutored Joseph and James Otis Jr. to prepare for college. This was her brothers. Mercy did not receive a formal education, but had a real desire to learn and read a lot as a child, read a lot of different books about language and reading. So these were some of the things that influenced her during her developmental time as a child. The desire to learn separated her from other girls during that time period because she really enjoyed learning. The letters that still exist between James Otis Sr. and Mercy Otis Warren suggest that he supported her learning goals and thought of her as his intellectual equal. The difference between Mercy Otis Warren and other women of the time period is that she was involved in politics and did write about issues that few men or women were equipped to do. However, even though war and politics was considered the domain of men during this time period, she was able to produce political writings and propaganda that supported the colonists and the colonist point of view. Many of her writings undermined the British rule in Massachusetts and encouraged colonists. As a writer, Mercy Otis Warren has several notable works that were important to the events of this time period. Observations on the new Constitution and on the federal and state conventions was a pamphlet that she published under a pen name, and her pen name was A Columbian Patriot. This is where she advocated not ratifying the Constitution unless there was an addition of a Bill of Rights or that it was added. Also, in her own name, in 1790, she published Poems, Dramatic, and Miscellaneous. This was a collection of plays and poems, and publishing the work in her own name was highly unusual for the time. These plays dealt with social and moral issues as well as liberty. However, perhaps her most notable work was published in 1805 in her own name and was entitled History of the Rise, Progress, and Termination of the American Revolution. This 3-volume work was the first of its kind about events surrounding the American Revolution, authored by a woman. The legacy of Mercy Otis Warren is one that endures because her commitment to the revolutionary cause and her participating and supporting colonial interests during an era when it was not the popular thing for women to do. Her writings are the greatest part of this legacy. Her contributions are invaluable because they were great resources to future generations.